All right, this is the last one I'm doing for the evening here. This is another Mason on our team. Mason last year was actually our analytics guy. He was basically our main manager, helped me and the coaches out with collecting data. But, he really worked his butt off, and this year he's getting a uniform. He'll probably get most of his time on JV, still learning the game. He's an interesting profile, though. He's getting a chance to play for us. He's not the most gifted athlete in the world. He's probably the first one to tell you that. But he's smart and he's well-read. And, we nicknamed him Moneyball last year because I gave him, a copy of the book and he read it. And he's been getting into understanding the analytics of the game. So, you'll see his swing. There's not a lot of hip action yet. He's really kind of pushy with his hands. The back foot right here, you got to see how it's wide open, and that's going to let that power leak off the back side. You need to close that foot up, allow you to get up on that back side a little bit. The next thing we're going to look at here is really the bat path itself. This is something to really see. The bat's, it's not too bad. Knees turning, got an idea. This foot needs to close up a little bit. Watch that bat as starts up and dippity-doo. There it goes. See, the bat is going to travel down and around. It's too loopy. And you're coming up on the ball. You want to swing down on that baseball. Again, trying to swing down on that baseball. You're coming up through it. Push you with the hands. Again, not a lot of separation in the hands with the load. Just dropping the hands, dropping the elbow. You need to stay on top. So let's try to get some more separation in our legs. A little bit of separation with the hands before the swing and see if we can get those hands come straight down that baseball. But a lot of it is really just learning hip torque and gaining more athleticism. Take a look at one more swing here. Again, the weight goes up. Let's try to bar that weight a little bit. Get up on the balls of these feet here. That back foot is way too open. Got to close it. And you can kind of see you don't have a lot of fire yet. Got to learn to get those hips really firing. Right now it's just kind of like a step and a turn. And we got to try to get some athleticism going, get some more crouch. Get some more crouch going before that swing. And again, trying to work on those hands instead of dropping the barrel like you are and coming around, trying to come straight down on it. So we're going to look at a couple swings here to try to help Mason out because, again, he's a smart kid, a hard worker. He's a kid who's only going to be an 8th grader this year. He's got plenty of time. He may never have the tools to truly dominate the game, but we're going to look at a couple guys that weren't necessarily the most toolsy. Here's a Moneyball guy right here. We have Kevin Youkilis. Now, I'm not suggesting the stance, but it shows you how, good hitters, if they're not naturally athletic, they have to get themselves into a hitting position that works for them. And I think Youkilis, really did this to keep his hands high and try to stay on top of the baseball. You can actually see right before he drops those hands, they're separated up on the knob of the bat and the shaft of the bat there. And I think he does that in order to kind of remind himself to keep his hands high. And he brings the hands down, brings a big load. But again, I think that pre-pitch setup reminds him to get his hands back up before the swing. So again, look at his back leg. See that toe? It's if anything, that toe is pointed inwards a little bit. So close up that toe. Look at all that weight barring on that back leg, turning that hip, and you're going to see those hips really explode through the swing. So right there at the point of contact, if we go back and look at you at the point of contact on one of your swings, let's take a look at the difference here. Again, look at those hips firing. Look at that back side, getting up on that toe. And here, we just don't have that back half explosion yet. Again, front leg is barred. You can see the back leg working against the front leg. Front knee is buckling. That's where we really have to get some athleticism going if this is ever going to happen. But, Youkilis, again, what I liked about Kevin Youkilis' swing was that, he was very much straight to the ball, head down on the ball, stayed compact, started tall and ridiculous in his stance, but it doesn't really matter how the stance looks because it's all about that point of contact. Right when that heel drops, what are the hands doing? They're staying high. Watch how his hands come straight to the ball. He doesn't drop the barrel and pull it around. He gets that knob of the bat straight through the baseball. Another one here, this is Kevin Millar. Kevin Millar was not a very gifted baseball player either as far as athleticism goes. But, look at his stance. He gets wide. He's square and everything. He did not have the natural hip torque that a lot of good athletes have. He does a little toe tap right here, which is just to kind of get him going forward a little bit. Still all that weight bar. Knob of the bat is pointed back of that catcher's mitt. Comes down through the baseball. Again, this is what I was saying. He didn't have natural hip power, but he's still trying to clear, still trying to buckle. He never really got back up on that heel that good. And that's where, he reminds me of you a little bit, just showing if you can develop some quick hands and stay down through the baseball, knob of the bat to the ball, you can find a way to hit at this level. So again, there he is at the point of contact. Still firing that back thigh through, that back hip is trying to rotate. Hand over hand. Elbow separation is good. Again, look at your elbows. They're kind of pointing in towards each other. Got to get that elbow separation. Stayed through the ball really well. Boom. And he could hit, but again, he wasn't a guy that could do everything with the bat. He would take his pitches, wait for his pitch, and do what he could with his athleticism. Last clip I'm going to show you here is Paul Molitor. Loved Paul Molitor growing up. Anytime I found myself in a slump, I kind of resorted back to this stance. Just a very wide, kind of a crouch stance, forcing the tension in my legs. Again, look at his feet. They're straight ahead, not open. And the thing I always liked about Paul Molitor was he didn't load much. He just kind of rested that bat on his shoulder, and he would lift, which again, barrel's right above the head, hand, knob of the bat is coming back towards that catcher's mitt, and he would just be very direct to the baseball and really rely on his lower half power. You can see he's already getting back up on that foot from the hip torque. Front knee is buckling and stays through the baseball. Again, very much through and quick to the baseball. Again, watch his bat. Your bat, again, is long and comes around. Boom, straight to it, just right down off that shoulder. At that shoulder and upper arm, just whoosh, right down to it. And that's really the path. It starts at the top of the head, down, around, through the shoulder to the ball, and it extends through the baseball. So, again, that's Mason. As a kid, I love to death. He's a really smart kid. Hadn't played organized baseball in a couple years, moving here from the Midwest. He's getting a chance now to get some at-bats on our JV team. Again, turning the knee, has an idea. He's been learning a lot. Trust me, he's a lot better than he used to be. He's picking up on some things, but just a couple things we can already see here is one, the foot, fix the foot. Two, try to work on getting that knob of the bat pointed back to the catcher and bringing those hands straight to the baseball. And then number three, we've got to get some hip torque going. So let's widen that stance a little bit. Let's crouch. Let's work on some leg athleticism. Trying to get some spring in our step to allow us to fire towards that baseball. Because, again, right now I don't see a lot of explosion to the baseball, just kind of dropping those hands and coming across. So, all right, that's the last one I'm doing for the night. Baseball University swing analysis. Checking out. There we go. Yep, now we're getting it. On it. On it. There you go. There you go. Keep an eye on somebody get that. Right field. There you go. Make play. Make play. Come on, that's the ball.